Doesn't look anything like the Texas I had seen.
Yeah, where she lives is a lot like that too. And that's the only part of Texas I'd seen on TV and whatnot.
Where do you live, Emma?
Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches.
About an hour and 15 minutes from Shelbyville.
Okay.
Julian lived in Nacogdoches.
North from you?
Oh, Julian did?
East for me. East for me.
But he died.
You mean you're not as far east as it can be?
You died in Tyler?
That's a big
She goes
place.
to Tyler all the time, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does go to Tyler.
Tyler, Texas.
Tyler.
Take her back because she doesn't fly, is that right?
Well, she does now.
That's changing.
If you're going to go home, you're going to be jetting off to Paris.
Oh.
She gets up to the captain's seat.
Where did you fly to? Why do you say that is? She will know.
I called Marie. We just remember make ice cream, homemade ice cream. I'd never had homemade ice cream before. I didn't know what I'm talking about. And you know, Marie, well, I'll finish the story. Well, anyway, we were going to make homemade ice cream. Well, I knew you took milk in it, and that's about all I knew you put in it. I called Marie, and I asked her if you put sugar in ice cream. That's the kind of daughter-in-law she had. And so it didn't dawn. She told me yes, told me how to fix it. And then later she sent me a thing out in the newspaper, how to make ice cream. I still have that, in case I forget. But, years later, I was thinking about how, I don't like to call myself dumb. Inexperienced, maybe, is a nicer word.
Naive.
Is that a nicer word? It is, yes. I got to thinking about that. And I thought, my husband knew better than that. Tommy knew you were supposed to put ice cream, because he's smarter than I was.
Sugar.
Sugar. He knew.
Well, he was just more experienced.
Oh, he was smarter.
More worldly.
And so, I thought, and it was after he died, too, that I thought about it, that I could have just, I thought, he had me to call Marie and ask the dumb question if you put sugar in ice cream. It made me plumb mad. Makes me mad today to think he would have sat there and let me ask that question.
I defend him. Maybe he didn't know how much.
No.
Correct to me. This is true.
Do it yourself than try to tell somebody else how to do it.
She wants it her way.
I agree.
Done yesterday.
We're older. They don't go. Down the street, and I called her, and they came and we took her to the hospital, and she died December 1st.
Oh, wow. That was a bad
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember, how old was I then?
I don't know.
He knows the dates.
You don't want to
Yeah.
Were you there then? So it just, I don't really remember if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas or what, but periodically during the holidays we'd end up at y'all's house, and it was kind of interesting how it was. It's kind of like a museum, and like a natural history museum or something. And that entire property was like everything that our house wasn't. So it was like this enormous piece of land.
Like Jurassic Park.
Right. And this enormous piece of land that was just huge. And then you have all these dead things everywhere, and you had a fireplace, which was something unique. We certainly didn't have a fireplace, and I never saw any a fire except for when I went either to your house or to Granny and Grandpa's house. And you've had these, if I remember correctly, like this cage with these dogs, and I mean it was just this completely other life experience.
That's interesting.
And then we got into this Jeep and we drove like
Jurassic Park.
like Jurassic Park, like all up and down, and
Yeah, tell me like to take them.
it felt like it was,
I think Tammy drove you in the Jeep.
I don't remember, but it was, I just know that we got in this big Jeep and we went just what seemed like miles and miles all over all this land, and there were cows, and I don't know if the cows were y'all's or if they were somebody else's, but it's just very different than the more suburban experience
Yes.
in East Cobb. So that was just you know, as I was looking in there, I was like, yeah, I can remember that alligator head sitting on that table in the center of that large room, and it was like
on the floor.
right, a bear rug, and you know, deers, and like I feel like maybe there was a fox or a raccoon or something like that stuffed, and just it really is like going in the Museum of Natural History in New York or something. It's in,
For Thanksgiving. And when we were little, my uncle had an old military Jeep. And it was a heap. It wasn't nothing fancy. But we were always the hottest kids in that little town because we got to ride on Thanksgiving Day in that Jeep anywhere we wanted to. Because there wasn't no cops in town.
Uncle Joel take you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all couldn't drive.
It was me and Glenn and Jim and Mike and Sherry and Kathy and Uncle Joel. No matter how cold, how wet, or how hot it was on Thanksgiving Day, going through Dudley.
And this was in a Jeep.
An old military Jeep.
Open air Jeep.
No top on it, no seats in it, no. It barely had a floorboard in it.
We were riding.
Sounds like fun.
Then after lunch, we'd all go walking through the woods.
2 or 3 years old, and I was in a crib or whatever. I think it was a larger crib. It wasn't like the baby crib, and I learned how to get out of it. And it was early in the morning, probably about 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and I had crawled up over the side of my crib, and I had gotten out, and I could climb. I climbed up on top of the counters and opened the cabinets, and I had poured flour all over me. I had gotten green dye all over me, food coloring. Well, it was in the cabinet, one of those.
I remember that.
And
Is it
I got
No.
like a pack of gum or something, and I like started chewing the gum. Yeah, and Mom comes down the stairs, Mom and Dad, and they couldn't hold it. They laughed. They couldn't be mad.
I could tell one from her was that growing up we didn't have, I guess we had ice trays, but apparently we couldn't keep up with the demand in our house for ice. So we always didn't have enough ice, and I can remember being a hot, hot summer. And so we go to Grandma's house, and we, at our house, don't have any ice for us. When we get to Grandma's house, Tiny is drinking ice water. Tiny was the dog. He has ice cubes in his water. And I'm thinking, I wish we had ice cubes in our water at home.
First one, I was about 6 or 7.
how old are you now?
11.
Okay.
8. I'm still fuzzy on the age thing.
He's a Boy Scout.
But and Grandma was making cheesecakes and peanut butter pies for her. She was testing them out for her ladies'
church
thingy, majiggy, whatever she called it. And so she was testing them out. So she made a peanut butter pie and a cheesecake, and and she was doing the peanut butter pie at the time. And once it was done, she said, "Do you want to have a slice?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll just eat a little bit." So she makes me a slice. She puts them on the plate or bowl or whatever it was in, and then I get it. And so I take a bite, and then she turns around to wash a dish, and then it takes her about, she did about 30 seconds, and she turned around to ask me a question or something, and then she looked down at the plate, it was empty. She said, "Where'd the pie go?" And I said, "I ate it." and she just started laughing because it was...
You couldn't stop.
Ain't been that way ever since.
I believe it.
And then my second one is, well, Grandma, she's like, kind of, if we're not there to help her, she's not decorating.
Oh, okay.
She's
She's
not
not that
decorating.
what? Decorating.
So,
Christmas?
About 3 years ago from now, she had a big Christmas tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were there to help her, but the next year that we come to her house like around Christmas time, and we look and we say, Where's her tree? And then she says, it's right there. And she's got a little table, like with a little spinning, tiny little Christmas tree.
Just like the one we got you.
Today.
Oh.
So, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor. And I, just for years and years, wanted to be an actor, but I was always too shy to actually do anything about it. So, I moved to Huntsville, Alabama in the 7th grade, and I somehow convinced one of my teachers that we should have a drama club. So I went to audition for my first play. It was called An Apple for Teacher. And, you know, there were a bunch of kids in the room, and we're all getting ready to audition, and I'm sitting there waiting for my turn, and I'm listening to one of the girls read from the script, and she's reading, and she keeps saying, blah, 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 honey chili, blah, 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 honey chili, da-da-da-da, honey chili, and I just kept thinking, what is honey chili? What is this honey chili? So finally, it's my turn to audition, and I get the script, and I look at it, and it was a southern girl.
Honey child.
She was supposed to be saying, honey child. But she was reading it honey chili, but she was doing it with such confidence.
That she was right.
That's my chili story.
Thankful to extend my family, Rocky and Rocky family, and really appreciate all they do, all they do for me. And Sabrina, I thank so much for my daughter, and I thank everybody.
Our trip to Yellowstone for Christmas a few years ago. That was a great time. We had a lot of fun. We saw a lot of beautiful, beautiful things.
Jackson Hole?
Jackson Hole. I can understand why my father said he could live out there without a problem.
Yellowstone, that's the one with the geyser?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I understand exactly why he could live out there without any hesitation.
That's where Robert just went, right? Yellowstone.
Jackson Hole.
Okay, yeah.
You went snowmobiling, right? We went snowmobiling, and we had a sleigh ride out, and it was just, I think the highest temperature we saw was like 20, and the lowest was like -20.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this time of year.
This time of year, it was just beautiful. We had a lot of fun.
But it was 6 months to a year. And he said, well, you have 2 weeks to learn how to drive. No matter what kind of weather it was, we had to get on the highway every day at 5:30. In the afternoon. I'd get out of work at 5:30. I know I had to crank up the little fair lane. Fair lane, 5 in the floor. He said, I wouldn't know how to drive if I didn't learn on a stick. Automatically just heard. So I said, okay. So anyway, we would drive every day at 5:30. And I did really well for the first couple of days, but then I kind of got too comfortable, and he started cursing at me and running me off the road. I'd just take the wheel and just jerk it, and we would go off the road, and I thought, oh, I'm putting both our lives in danger. So I thought I better straighten up. So then I kept driving. And in 2 weeks, I had my license.
Wow.